Let's go to Lou on this one. Actually, I think he stepped out for a second. Timeout.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, just
Sorry.
kidding. Magic. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dodgeball Podcast. Unless you've been living under a rock recently, you already know that the weekend of the 3rd was an action-packed weekend with some intense and incredible dodgeball taking place. And in this episode, we'll be covering the second or biannual World Dodgeball Association Dodgeball World Cup. And here to help me do so is returning guest Rob, hometown Immel. Rob, thanks so much, man, for your pre-cap a couple weeks ago, leading into the WDA DWC. It was great to get some more of the background and just kind of add to the hype for that weekend. So, and also thanks for coming back to talk to us through it. And for those that may not know, Rob, just go ahead and reintroduce yourself with your name, number, and the role you had for Team USA. We'll start there, man.
Yeah, hey everybody, glad to be back. Always a pleasure to talk dodgeball with Dodgeball fan, and especially you, Steve. So thanks for having us on here. I am Rob Immel, captain of the men's Team USA. I wear number 1, and what a weekend it was last week. Can't believe it's already been a week since we were there. The pre-cap was fun, but it was nothing like living in the moment and playing that tournament last week.
Awesome. And then Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Wilkie. I'm number 45, and I played on the women's squad at the Dodgeball World Cup last weekend.
Awesome.
Hey, Velez here, number 65, and I was on the men's squad for Team USA.
Awesome.
And hi, everybody. I am Tasha Mabin. I am number 55, and I played for both women's and the mixed team.
Awesome. I was getting nervous for just a second. I was like, Chris want to have somebody from mixed as well. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. Again, thank you so much for hopping on, especially you I guess you're on the East Coast. It's like 11 o'clock at night, so I definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to talk about what happened. First and foremost, I wanted to ask, we weren't able to record last week because you guys collectively lost your voices. Is that what happened?
Yeah, my voice was pretty gone. It was tough to do any kind of interviews on Saturday. But I don't know. I felt like after that whole thing, I just needed a couple of days to kind of decompress from everything.
Yeah.
Personally.
Me and Lou talked about this. I was like, hey man, are you sure the day after is going to be good? Because I obviously for now I have a really short window of when I can record. So it was either Sunday or a week afterwards, in case anybody's wondering why this came out 2 weeks later. But it's just I don't know, even after an elite tournament or something local, it's I just have to kind of decompress, as you said, and I couldn't even imagine what you guys went through on a world stage. So I'm assuming the loss of voice was good, right? It wasn't angry yelling, or maybe it's a collection of both.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. How about you, Blue? Your voice is gone too, wasn't it?
Oh, my voice was gone, and Sunday I was incredibly hungover, so
no, there was that too.
It was definitely a good thing to push it back a week. So,
gotcha. Well, very cool. Well, let's. I kind of want to ask just a broad question, and just now that you guys have had a week to I guess process everything as we're talking about, what were your thoughts just overall, Rob? If you can kind of sum it up in a couple of sentences before we take a deep dive in, what would you say?
It was overwhelming. It's tough now. I think to answer that question, I might have to wait another week or another 2. I'm still looking at pictures and seeing interviews and just kind of remembering the things that happened or didn't happen. But I thought it was a pretty incredible weekend. Maybe a couple words to describe it was surprising, fulfilling. I was kind of blown away by the production of it all. And the talent level, and even our play level.
Yeah, and we'll cover this too, but there's so much cool stuff coming out after the fact. I really want to talk about the CBS featurette too, but it's you're just kind of reliving everything in little waves. It just it still feels like it was fairly recent, even though it was a week ago. How about you, Kim? What are your thoughts overall?
I would say, if I had to describe it in one word, I would say humbling. It was just amazing to see the teamwork and camaraderie both on and off the court that all the other teams brought to New York City. And even before we went into Basketball City on Friday, I like just stood and looked around at like just how oriented and how together everyone was, and it kind of like made me tear up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, like the whole experience was just kind of magical in a way.
What do you mean by like oriented and together, like, and everyone? I guess. What do you mean by that?
So before the tournament started on Friday, we had to all take cover under a bridge or an overpass, basically, because it was like pouring down rain and they wouldn't let us inside. So every single team from every nation just gathered under that bridge and basically had a party.
Oh, that's cool.
Some teams had choreographed dance routines that they were showing off to everyone. Others had chants going. Like, it just seemed like the tournament already started before we even walked onto the court. It was really neat to see.
That's awesome. So I think that was one of the videos I think Anna posted. It was like, okay, this is the last dance, and then it looked like it was on like under an overpass, like a bridge. So I think I'm connecting the dots there. But in terms of like everyone getting online and getting together, just all these nations coming together to play dodgeball and being festive and friendly before it begins, pretty much.
Yeah, it was really, really great to see all the camaraderie before it even started.
That's awesome. Going back to you, Rob, real quick, one of the things I wanted to ask was like, and it's probably a duh question, but being as that we talked about this, a couple months ago, back in November, December timeframe, was it worth the hype building up after all those months? Yeah,
it was, and it's kind of eating my words a little bit on the pre-cap. I think I literally said I wish it wasn't at Madison Square Garden. I think I was just left in the dark like everybody else was, but they stepped up, and I'm super glad that they was there.
Nice. We'll have to resend that then. It's on record.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, how about you, Lou? How was just if you can sum it up in a couple sentences, just your biggest takeaway overall feels.
Oh man, it was, I guess one word I'd say is it was really overwhelming for me. Like, it's my first time like on a world stage like that, and it was like Kim said, like everyone was under the overpass, and like you just see like the countries lined up, and then out of nowhere Austria comes with a big boombox and like just getting everyone hyped. Like, it was super fun, and like the whole experience is just like really ridiculous in the greatest way possible. Like, I'm so glad I got to be a part of it.
That's awesome. So the Austrians came with a huge boombox?
Oh yeah,
they sure did.
They brought the party.
Yeah, they shut down the underpass literally with their flash dances, their music. They shut it down. It turned into the biggest block party I think I've ever been a part of.
And that was not planned. That was like unscripted. It just happened.
It was not planned.
That's incredible. Please humor me. Were they playing like that crazy Euro pop techno music?
Always. Only.
Plus some High School Musical thrown in there. Don't forget.
Of course. Why not? I gotta watch those videos again and just take it all in. And Tasha, so how would you describe everything in a couple of sentences, just overall?
I mean, my experience was definitely incredible. To go back to your question about the hype, I don't think that we all realized how big this was for us. To get in front of cameras, to interview with Vice, to interview with News Weekly, to get on NY1 News. I heard Canada got on Good Morning America. I don't think that we showed up. Nobody understood how big this was going to be. So I think that the hype was definitely overwhelming. It was insane to just see how much press and how much media coverage was on dodgeball. To see New York Post put out newspapers about dodgeball, who would expect that? So I'd say definitely an amazing experience. I'm happy that I was a part of it. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, I remember seeing Vice. I was like, wait, what? Hold on, because I'm so used to seeing Vice with their their politically charged bits that come up on Facebook. But then I was scrolling to the feed, and I think I saw like Dodgeball and Vice together. I was like, wait a minute, let me scroll back up. Whoa, that's huge. And then I made this silly comment, Rob, it's like an inside joke that we have for like the Hanes underwear commercial. Like that's when I felt validated for Dodgeball and felt like Dodgeball making its mark. But like after this weekend and this week's seen New York Times and Vice and the CBS News feature, I'm like, holy crap, this is so like, it's so,
yeah,
like,
it was definitely bigger than we all expected.
Yeah, like I didn't even play, so like I can't imagine what you guys feel like to see like big name news companies covering you guys. I definitely want to get into that too. We kind of talked about day one, but yeah, it was incredible just watching it from my limited perspective. But let's go ahead and get into kind of like the pre-day one DWC, just to get an idea of like what it was like for you guys. And the first question I wanted to have, and this will go for you, Rob, although I'm not sure how this one would be directed, but what was it like being selected? Like just finding out you're going to be on Team USA and you're going to be like coach, right? You're the coach?
No.
Captain.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, no, I'm not that old. I'm not a coach yet. But no, it was great. I went to, like I said before, I went to the New York tryout as well as the Maryland tryout. So I want to kind of double my chances. We all know how dodgeball works. You have a good day, bad day. But the process took a long time. I wasn't involved in the process, thank God. I don't want to be. I don't know who is, but I wouldn't want to be on the selection committee. But when I finally got the email with the first round of cuts were made and I was on that list, preliminarily selected for the team, I was pumped. I was jacked up. You know, I immediately, text my friends and wife, and it came home to like a little gift, like, cause they knew how pumped I was to make the team and how much of a goal it was for me. So I was honored. And then when I was, Coach Fox actually called me to let me know that, he nominated me and wanted me to be the captain of the team, I was overwhelmed and honored, and that was just more motivation to go into last weekend, to do well.
And was it different than going in the first time? Like obviously you had like a better understanding of what to expect, or did you just like kind of write that off and start over with just like how you're going to train and prepare?
Yeah, I wanted to do better personally and as a team this year than 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago it was just so quick. The teams had to be made quickly and everybody had to make arrangements to go to England, and then US Dodgeball had 2 years to kind of figure out the process to get a team, to find a team, make a team, and figure out how to do well at MSG. So it was just a different level, I think, 2018 to 2016, in a good way.
Gotcha. And how did you prepare for this whole thing, just physically and mentally? I mean, obviously playing as much dodgeball as possible and coordinate with your team, but did you do anything like out of the ordinary? Considering...
Yeah, for me, I started going to the gym a bit. I'm a very active guy, but just started training a little differently, working with a trainer to be physically ready, not just eating pizza, Tasha, but also working out and talking with the trainer about what I needed to improve my game in the WDA style, that fast, back and forth counter style. And it felt good physically. I felt real good in New York. Mentally, just kind of watching the opponents, watching the group stage or the pool draw, and then find out who we're playing, and then watching them. Social media videos, just kind of stalking them online a bit and watching film and just kind of getting it wrapped around my head. It's been a long process to just kind of go to New York. I think I said it to you in the pre-cap, like I can't wait kind of for it to be over because it's been so much like leading up to it,
Right.
But in a good way. I think I was physically and mentally ready, and I had a blast.
There's just like nothing but anticipation at this point. Like, just come on, like hurry up already. Let's do this.
Right.
Gotcha. How about you, Kim? What was it like being selected?
Well, obviously it felt really good to be selected because there was a great pool of women that tried out. And honestly, I didn't think I did very good at the first tryout I went to. And there was an opportunity to travel to Canada for a clothball tournament. So I took that opportunity just so I could show that I've been working with the cloth balls a lot and practicing, just to show that I improved a little bit and hoping to help my chances to make the team.
Gotcha. And did you was it hard adopting the cloth ball style or the cloth ball in particular?
So I wouldn't say hard. I mean, it took a little bit of adjusting. Like, I feel like I had to adjust how my arm followed through a little bit. But I'm lucky in that I have a pretty large hand. So, like, gripping the ball is actually not an issue for me.
Nice.
But I would say, like, the follow through and release point was kind of tricky to get down at first.
But once you got that down, did it feel more natural? Like, okay, I can play now. I can compete. I can represent.
Yeah,
the
very
US.
much so. I've actually grown to love them now.
Oh boy. Yep, we already talked about this, Rob. First it's foam, then it's cloth, and then just. I hate change. People that know me that I'm just like a stickler for anything that's different. But we'll see if it makes its way down here in the Southwest. How about you, Lou? What was it like being selected, man?
I'm gonna reiterate what Kim said. I thought I didn't do as well in the first tryout either, but then after that I went to the America's Cup, which was basically a qualifier per se, even though USA already qualified being the host nation. But we went against Canada. I did better there, and then I went to the same tournament that Kim went to in Canada, the draft tournament. And I did better there, so. Definitely gave me confidence, and then when I saw I got selected, I was like, oh, I made it. I was still surprised, but it was a great feeling.
Gotcha.
And then since then, like, I've been to Canada like numerous times to play like competitive cloth, because New York City, the only cloth league is social, is a super social league. So went to Canada a couple of times, was playing with them up there, getting myself ready. And then here we are playing in Madison Square Garden. Now I wish I could go back.
I mean, hopefully in another 2 years. But so you mentioned Canada, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit before we started recording. The name Benedict Arnold came up, and then something about you being Canadian. Kim, you're smiling. Rob, can you guys kind of elaborate on that real quick?
Yeah, Lou talks about how he goes to Canada to play, but like I think he's from Canada. He comes to New York to hang out. Every time I see him on a Snap story or anything, he's in Canada hanging out. I don't know what's going on. I don't really want to know what's going on, but I hope that WDA find out he's actually Canadian. He played on the U.S. team.
He's just like staying longer and longer, and
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, Lewis is definitely Canadian. I'm sure you saw like just jokes about it all over Facebook. Members of the American delegation, we did get together. We proposed the trade. We solidified the trade by doing shots with our Aussie and Irish allies. We ended up trading Lewis for Canada's metric system, because I think that it's definitely useful. Why America doesn't use the metric system, I don't know, but I think.
was that the cops coming for Lewis there? There's a van bugged outside his house.
Tasha, I'd like to know who's on this U.S. delegation. I want names.
It's a secret committee.
I was gonna say it sounds like some deep state stuff, but hey, we finally joined the rest of the world with the metric system. I'm okay with that. Sorry, Lou. It's time for us to get with the rest of the world there.
I mean, to be fair, like that's a very good trade. Like the metric system is where it's at.
Yeah, something you can. That's a legacy to leave behind. But so I think I got it now. But I'll see if I can remember that when I talk to you in nationals. But going back to being selected, Tasha, what was that like for you?
Definitely the same progress as Kim and Lewis. First tryouts, it was definitely very difficult. Just learning how to grip the balls. I am 5'1". My hands are pretty small, so it was just a learning curve of how to hold the balls, how to throw the balls. If you're not following through on your throws, the vinyl tends to just slip out of your hands, unlike playing with like rubber or foam. So when we did the America's Cup, definitely noticed a lot of progress. And then I did the tournament in Canada and made a tremendous amount of progress when we did that tournament. So just a lot of practicing, just a lot of gaining confidence. So I was definitely very honored to be selected. It was a very long process. I'm sure my teammates can vouch for that. We definitely became very anxious. We weren't getting a lot of communication on, did we not do well? Are we on the team? So happy that it was validated. I think we all put in the work. So it was great to see our names on that list.
Nice. How does pizza help prepare? Other than it's amazing and just best for everything, but like how did that get sniped in there?
Pizza?
Somebody made the remark like not eating pizza.
Yeah. Well, Tasha made this joke on Thursday when we got to New York, and she was wondering if I was actually ready to play because all I post and all I talk about is pizza.
I mean, can everybody vouch for that? I mean, he only posts pizza.
but at the same time,
so I was concerned.
But at the same time, what's wrong with just posting pizza? What's wrong with just eating pizza?
I mean, let's face it, pizza is pretty fatty. A lot of cheese, a lot of carbs, so I wasn't sure if he was using that for energy and fuel. And when I saw him, surprise, surprise, he looked amazing. Rob, you look great.
It's that pizza diet. Thank you.
Yeah, I need to try this pizza diet for scientific purposes.
That's right, for research.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, you did look pretty good on CBS, Rob. Not like you looked bad or anything, but you definitely look a little more toned and cut from previous. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, so
Thanks,
obviously
Steve.
something's working. And that reminds me of a question I want to ask. When you talked to your trainer and you said, "I'm preparing for the Dodgeball World Championships," like what? Did he look at you weird, or how'd that conversation go?
This guy's pretty young. He just opened up a new facility near me, so I kind of just went and talked with him. And he's actually his wife is cousins with Michelle Radsley on Empire and Anarchy, and also played on the women's and mixed team USA. But so I went and talked with him, and he was all about it. He wanted to just say, "Let's go." And he works a lot with baseball players, and I told him it's not just strictly throwing; it's all these different things. So we kind of put some stuff together to see what would work, and it's fun and it's working.
Would you ever consider sharing that workout?
Yeah, sure.
So I've seen people post on Dodgeball Family asking for like, what do you do to condition your body for dodgeball? And I think that's like.
You just watched Dave's Dojo, right? That's all it is.
I think that's for the mental aspect. I mean, if you really want to get an edge above your enemies, it's all about the mental. If you watch Dave. Oh man, some of his stuff I just wonder like when are the cops gonna bust in and grab him? But yeah, if you remember, you should share that. I think people would benefit from what you can actually do to get in prime dodgeball shape. Wanted to ask, and we kind of covered it with just adapting to the play style on the balls, but were there any other challenges that you guys faced just in preparation from getting to the World Cup, or just understanding like who your team is, or were there any other like I don't want to say issues, but anything else come up that you guys had to kind of mitigate or work through? And we'll start with you, Rob.
Yeah, definitely. I'm 3 hours from the city, and I think I was the last one to get there, both for USA and for any other 13 nations. So that was kind of frustrating. It was kind of frustrating to see England was practicing with each other in New York at a YMCA. Hong Kong was taking over handball courts. Malaysia had training facilities going, and I'm just sitting here at home kind of like hanging out, mowing my lawn. That was one thing. Obviously, not knowing or playing with other team members was tough, and I wanted some time to just talk with them, sit with them, and play dodgeball with them. That was huge. And then the ball, we were used to this a little bit different. They changed the ball just a little bit for the New York. They didn't use a screen print logo on the ball, which some people use for grip. So that was just a little change. That kind of freaked everybody out because Lou sent a picture and kind of like scared the whole group. But it was nice to know there's a little bit of a change, but it really wasn't that different. We were just scared for no reason. I think we're looking for excuses, but it really wasn't that different. So those are a couple things that kind of like frustrated me early and got me a little anxious, like, wow, let me get down there and feel this ball and see what the heck's going on and maybe meet my teammates.
Yeah, you mentioned
once we got together and started playing and started gelling on Friday, it started picking up game by game.
And all those like worries kind of just went out the window.
Yeah, and you know how it is with dodgeball. Once the whistle blows, all the crap stops.
Oh, I love that. Everything goes out the window. Life, work, family, anything.
Yep.
Just it's gone. All that matters is dodgeball. And because earlier in the pre-cap, you mentioned like the logo kind of maybe gives you an advantage. So that you said that didn't really impact you guys too much once you actually got your hands on one.
No, it wasn't bad.
I think Canada just asked Lou to freak you guys out.
Probably. Probably.
Well, how about you, Kim? Any additional like challenges or hurdles that you had to overcome just to get prepared and get to the cup?
Not really, and particularly, I think one of the biggest challenges was just getting there and figuring out a way to get from Maryland up there. Because Jeremy and I couldn't go together because he had to work, and I wanted to be up there for our little mini team practice and powwow that we had. So I think just transportation getting up there was probably the worst part for me.
Which is like 90% of the problems for every dodgeball player out there. It's just the travel.
Yeah, pretty much. I just did a budget today to see how much I spent on dodgeball travel this year, and it's insane how
Don't
much.
do that.
Yeah, I made myself cry a little. But it's all worth it.
I missed one round, and I still don't want to even think about it. I'm just gonna. It never happened. I got there for free. That's what happened. How about you, Lou? Any challenges or issues that you had to overcome in preparation for the cup?
One of the big things was, like, it was that week. I think it was that Thursday. That's when literally entire like Team USA finally got together. And it's just like that was when we had to, figure out like play styles. Like we had a mini practice that Thursday, and so yeah, because like obviously East Coast we had our practices, West Coast had their practices, so it was like anxious to finally like get the team together and like talk strats, like figure everything out. And I remember that Tuesday I was at the scrimmages that Malaysia, Australia, Austria, Hong Kong, Singapore, like I was at those scrimmages watching, and I was just like, I wish my team was here. I want to scrim these guys so bad. But I think that was the big thing, like just waiting for the whole team to get there so we could finally like talk, get things rolling and stuff.
Where when you saw everybody, well, I guess you probably knew in advance, but was anybody that you've never seen before, or has the dodgeball community gotten so close now that we all at least have heard of one another at some point?
Like when in terms of WDA, like I've only seen like videos from Manchester, so I've seen the teams, but I've never really knew anyone. But they were practicing at one of our Sandlot gyms. So I was there, I was watching everyone, and I was like, oh man, everyone can play. Like it was exciting to see all these countries like going, and like it was ridiculous. I wish I could have played. It would have been a lot of fun, but seeing all of those teams for the first time like really made me anxious. Like I really want to play now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm sure that's just a common thing. You see dodgeball happening, part of you is always going to want to jump in regardless of who or what. How about you, Tasha? Aside from being able to grip the ball and whatnot, were there any other challenges that you had to deal with or overcome?
There was no challenges traveling. It was just honestly just seeing Lewis just sending us all these information about each team, because he has the luxury of being in New York City. So he was kind of like our gateway to intel of all the other countries. So by him feeding us all this insight of all these different countries, it was making me just a little nervous. And the ball change was definitely like, at the time it was like a scandal. Like we were calling it like #Ballgate 2018. But like Rob touched on, once the whistle blew, we were all fine. But no challenges leading up. It was more just like the days, like when we were there, and just being anxious. I think we're all just anxious.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, it sounds like Lou's well versed in espionage, information gathering. It's almost like he does this for a living. Just
That's our guy, yeah.
All right. Noted. Cool. Well, we kind of touched on this already, but let's just go into day one. And I did want to ask, like, how did the excitement and the hype compare to that of any other nationals or any other large dodgeball events? Like, I almost want to say off the bat, it probably doesn't. But Rob, do you want to go ahead and just kind of weigh in on that a little bit?
Yeah. I think when you see, all these different countries that speak a different language, that use a different currency, that are playing the same game as you, everything else is kind of out the window, and it kind of trumps any other tournament you ever had. I know mentally for me, like, I really don't care about any other tournament other than one that we participated in last weekend. So that was kind of like my mindset going in. And no matter how it was, that was my only focus, and that was going to be the biggest tournament of my career. So that's how I saw it.
Did it feel, so even though you'd done this before in 2016 and you played in the Outcast, or you played with Outcast for that tournament in Germany, did those two like help you for this one, or was it just something like brand new all over again?
Well, it was brand new because we were a new team, new focus. We weren't just like, 2 years ago I felt like, all right, this is this is the first World Cup. We don't really play this style, we don't play this ball. Germany was cool because I saw some teams, some players from countries I saw in Manchester. So it was more of that in New York, a lot more familiar faces, people that you're excited to see, haven't seen in a year or two. But it was just, like I said, it was just the mindset to do better and to focus on us and do the best we can.
Gotcha. How about you, Kim? How would it compare to any other tournaments, or does it even, or did it rather?
So I don't think it does compare to any other tournaments, just because it was international on such a large scale. And like the seriousness of it all in the end, like after day one, I mean, the women's team, we were working really hard just so we could play the next day at Madison Square Garden. And, I've never had to play a tournament where like that was an issue coming back the next day. So I think there's just a whole new level of, I guess seriousness is the best word I can come up with for it.
Like the stakes increased or something?
Yeah, it was way more high stakes involved. Okay,
so if and maybe I missed this when I was talking to you, Rob, last week or 2 weeks ago, but if you didn't perform well on day one, you weren't guaranteed day two?
Everybody was guaranteed one game at Madison Square Garden, but it depends on if it was worth anything. It could go to the quarterfinals, or it could be just a 9th to 10th place play-in game.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's new. Definitely.
Yeah, so in that game, if you don't advance to the quarterfinals, even if you win, you're done.
It's just kind of like a let's see where you place kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
And I think most of us are so used to now playing like double elimination tournaments that the thought of being one and done just kind of flew out the window for me at first.
Yeah, that's.
And I think too, like every team there has their own individual teams where it's like their rep kind of carries a lot, and they don't really think about they could be eliminated, they could be the worst one there. A lot of us, not to sound arrogant, a lot of us walk into the gym knowing that we're one of the top teams in the place, and we're kind of relaxed. That was not it at Madison Square Garden. Nobody gives I can't swear on this, but nobody really cares what your other team did in the States. They just want to eliminate you as quick as possible.
Yeah, you're just an opponent. First of all, thank you for watching the swear words. I forgot how much you swore. I was like,
bleeps are kind of funny.
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, I don't mind it too much because I get to use that bleep noise and it's hilarious. But yeah, sometimes it's a little tease. Like, oh man, I missed one from Rob. You swore again. Dang it. How about you, Lou? Like, what was the hype and excitement like? And I mean, does it compare to any events that you've been to previously?
Nah, I think so far this has been like the top for me so far. Like I said, my first world international tournament, and it was crazy just to have it at Madison Square Garden, of all places. That just took it to new heights, and seeing all the media and everyone there, and just seeing all these countries, everyone's so friendly. Not that I thought otherwise, but it was just so crazy. Like, so far, this is the top for me.
Yeah, I guess it's just different if it's people from another country speaking a different language, but they're still friendly, still excited to see you, and still like a different sense of community versus maybe teams you're used to seeing over the past couple of years.
Exactly.
Yeah, because how long have you been playing in Elite? Was it like a couple of years?
This is my third Elite season.
Gotcha. Yeah, so this really just opened up a whole new like world, literally, of dodgeball for you, being on this kind of stage.
Yeah, man, it's only going to keep going up from here, in my opinion. So,
yeah, for sure. And how about you, Tasha? How did it compare to anything that you've done previously?
This was definitely bigger than, like I mentioned earlier, than I expected. I play a lot of dodgeball. I'm a part of Team Precision on the East. So, I'm used to looking at a game and, just being ready for that game. So I really tried to embody those motions when I was on the court, to just look at it as, you know what, we're home turf, we're in New York City, we're home compared to everybody else in the other countries. So I was trying my best to kind of look at it as this is just another game. But then when you're playing against these countries, and, we had a really tough group. I don't know if you saw that, but we had England in our group, we had Austria, we had Hong Kong, and then our friends in Canada. So when we were playing against those two top teams, Austria and England, I think that's when it hit me that, this is definitely not another game back home in Baltimore or Jersey or New York playing Elite. This is definitely this is a lot different. These
Right.
teams are really good. They work hard year round, so it was great to experience that. I was just honored to be there.
A couple questions. One was, so like seeing media there, did that mess with you at all? Like when you walk in, you're like, holy crap, like there's like vices here. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just like assuming. But when you saw cameras, did that make it more difficult for you, or challenging, or did that impact you in any way?
I think that it just created more of a hype. I think that we walked in, we knew that we were Team USA, we knew that press wanted to highlight us. So I think that really got us motivated. But then, when you're playing these hard countries, it just really puts in hindsight of, how talented, other countries and other people are outside of what you know.
Right, and that was the second part, because like you go to like Elite and you're like, oh, okay, I know Mike McGee throws incredibly hard. I know
exactly
this guy catches really well. I know, XYZ, there's film. But when you're looking at Team England, you're like, I don't know what any of these people are capable of. Was that fair to say across all teams, or were you able to like kind of identify patterns, or like, kind of point like who's going to do damage, or what was that like? Just kind of going in blind, I guess, or?
It was going in blind. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, we all know Canada. We play with them. They're our friends. We're in a Snapchat group with them, so we know them, and we were able to be successful against them. But definitely against the other countries, we had no idea who they were, how they play, what their strategy was. Rob, I'm not sure what it was like on your end, on the men's end. If you'd like to chime in.
Yeah, we could do a quick scouting report, some familiar faces from Manchester, from the first World Cup, also from the film. So we kind of knew, when we played England, it was kind of funny because I didn't recognize any of the faces. And then we realized that their starters weren't even in when we played them in full play. That was kind of humbling and kind of crazy. But you definitely knew who was doing what from the recognizable players from both the film and the World Cup 2 years ago.
And would that be fair to let me slow down. Would that be fair to say the same for you, Lou? Like, was Rob feeding you intel on these guys, like who to look out for, or like what was it like from your perspective?
Oh, definitely. Like, we had an email chain, and I think it was Coach Fox. He sent us links of videos to watch, which was basically like the top teams from 2016. So I was definitely watching a lot of tape, but at the same time, like seeing it in person, like really opens your eyes, like because at the same time, you don't know what they're capable of. As much, like at least for me, as much film as I watched like seeing it in person was like a whole different thing for me. It really opened my eyes, and it made me realize like how big this is. Like these countries are crazy. Like they have their own like managers, they have their own medical staff, they have their own masseuse. Like
their own water boys. Austria, they had a water boy.
Let me tell you, England had the sharpest like dressed manager I've ever seen. I was like, oh, okay, yes.
So
he had a walkie-talkie like with an earpiece talking to his other managers, his other staff.
Hold on.
That's nuts.
There's multiple layers of what the heck here. So they had a manager first of all, and then you say managers, and then they're like they have a staff.
Yeah.
What do you need a staff for? Like what do they?
They had a camera set up with a guy on top of like behind general admission seating, videoing the matches and taking down stats and radioing down to the coaches on the court, like a NFL football.
Like, jeez, like play coordinators, I guess, like the guys that are up in the skybox.
Maybe they'll see a pattern that their opponents are doing or what their play calls are or whatever it is. But they had a camera and coaches set up in the way back, radioing down to the earpiece the guys on the court.
Pardon me, future Steve, but holy that's ridiculous. Like, wow.
It's serious.
Wow.
Yeah, they take it very seriously.
I mean, I'm still like getting over the fact that there's a coach. Like that's always been, like a running joke. Like, oh, one day we'll have a team that will have a coach, and because that's what we're gonna do when we're too old to play. Maybe we'll hop on.
Yeah.
And then now there's managers, and I'm just like picturing this. I don't know if you guys ever saw like the Mighty Ducks 2. Where you have like the Iceland team where like guys like super sharply dressed with his like hair slicked back, and he's just like hates the world.
That's what they had. At the end of each match, they literally would run. Everybody would have like team sips of water out of like their own little water bottles, and they had their own England towels. They would towel off, and then they would reset and line up.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, I remember every player had their own Gatorade bottle. I was like,
where's our Gatorade bottle?
It's like, oh, somebody kicked it under the bleachers. Let me wipe the dust off of it.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
But there was they had a person designated to set all that up for when a match ends.
God dang, that's insane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in awe for a little bit. I still can't get over that. Like, just the implications. Like, okay, this is taken very seriously in other countries. They have staff, so people are getting paid for this, I imagine. So they're not just volunteering or pulled from the bleachers to like retrieve balls for you guys. Like, they have their own water bottles. They have like just you can probably tell I'm all over the place, but we need to get with it. Just dang, that's incredible.
I mean, we were mind blown,
Yeah.
To see they all had like sweat towels that said England Dodgeball, and they were presented to them at the end of each match to just towel off, cool off, and then they would line up, get ready for the next match.
I don't know how this is gonna sound. This might sound terrible, but like, we're freaking America. Like, we should be able to afford water bottles for our own teammates or players. Like,
thanks for your honesty.
Yeah, like, why are we looking like we're just just.
It's a learning curve, right? It's a learning curve.
Yeah, maybe I mean, we got 2 years to figure it out, but geez.
Details matter, right? Details matter.
Yeah,
exactly.
Can we get like?
Yeah.
Can we just like hire some temporary guy and like go to maybe Goodwill and get him in a business suit, and we'll just like slowly build up. That's incredible. Man, I can't get over that. Like, I guess on that note, like, overall, what else stood out to you guys? And we'll go to Kim for this one. Like, any and you're women's, right? Women's division.
Yeah, that's correct.
So what teams did you notice that were just super on or give you guys a run for your money? Like, just kind of walk me through that if you can.
I think hands down, Austria and England were extremely difficult teams to face. We came out against Austria. Austria was our first match, and the first game we come out and we beat them, and we're just like, oh, all right, we got this. Yeah, they didn't like that, so then they kind of wiped the floor with us.
Doesn't make them too happy.
But yeah, they hated that.
Like, you can just see this fire, like, in their eyes spark. Like, yeah, no more.
Yeah.
No more.
It's like, oh,
They had really crazy formations. Steve, if I see you at Nationals, I like to show you how they do things.
Formations. Okay.
Yeah. I'll show you.
Yeah, they go in like waves. Like one wave goes up and throws, a second wave comes up to counter. It's really interesting.
It's awesome. They play like passing batons.
Mm-hmm.
It's really insane. They all line up like one behind the other, racing for the balls. They throw the balls all back to their three people, and then they all run. It's insane. I'll show you at Nationals.
Gotcha. Yeah, and because Rob, you kind of talked about like how it penalizes you if you have all the balls, so you want to throw as much as you can, and so it's curious. It's interesting to think about what teams would do to overcome that or build a strategy around that. So I'm really curious to see like how that wave strategy plays out, what it looks like, and is that something that you think would be brought into like 8.5 rubber or no sting or like elite or I guess US dodgeball, or do you think that's just something that we'll only see in the DWA?
I personally think that it's extremely successful. It was interesting to watch. It makes a lot of sense. You definitely have to be very fit and fast to do this.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to show you guys at Nationals.
That'd be cool to see. Because I always wonder, like, and we talk about this all the time. If you go back to 2010 when we thought we were at the height of dodgeball, we look like just completely lost frantic children hurling balls at each other. But now we think, oh yeah, we've tightened up the strategy. It can't get any more. There's like no new ideas now. We have our corners, we have our pressers, we have like XYZ, and then it's really cool to think that there's another way to play out there or more elements to introduce into the sport and just continue to develop the play style. I'm really excited to see that now. Kind of got sidetracked there, but that's totally fine. So let's go ahead and go to Lou. How about you? Did you see any teams that stood out the most for you, or players, or just what can you take away from day one?
Kind of like what Kim said. For us, it was England. England, we started hot. It was like we started 3-0, I believe. We won the first 3 matches, and then all of a sudden, England calls a timeout, and because there are timeouts for the World Cup, England calls a timeout. And then all of a sudden we see like 3 guys just, take off their warm-ups, start warming up, and we're like, all right. We like frazzled them. And then they started just like almost rolling a train. So yeah, that was tough to say the least. But it was still fun. But England was definitely, like, at least when we played them, after first 3 games we won, like they definitely showed like why they were one of the top teams, one of the top countries.
So if someone were to ask what's the toughest country out there right now, it would be England. Is that fair to say? Right now they'd be one of the toughest, because with, at least on the men's side, with Austria winning it, like they were on a roll, obviously, because they won men's division. So, but England is still definitely one of the top teams. It's like Austria and England are going to be the teams to really watch next cup.
Yeah, and even Malaysia was still consistent. They got second, I think, in Manchester. They got second in New York. So, like, those 3 countries still top of the game.
Gotcha. Actually, so let's go into some of the higher level stuff I might have glossed over because I just dove right in. How many countries were there total for US? And this could be Rob or Lou, whoever can.
For the World Cup, there were 13 nations playing.
13. And then for the women's?
That's.
Oh, just all around.
All around.
Yeah, that was a dumb question. That's the elite mentality. Like, oh yeah, this is going to be a different amount of opening code.
There were 13 total countries, and each division had 10 countries.
Gotcha. That's crazy. Let me back up one quick. So we'll go with we'll finish men's real quick. How did you guys finish after day one? Like, what was your seed or your placement?
Day one was tough. You know, we played Northern Ireland first. I think if we played them later in the day, maybe like our second or third game, I think we would have beat them. It was tough to get past them, just playing with each other and just kind of jumping in and going. Then we played Australia. We beat them pretty handedly. Felt pretty good. Then we had a long wait, kind of sitting around, kind of cooling off. And we faced England, lost to them, and we smoked Canada pretty easily. So day one, night one was pretty good. We ended up seeded third for Madison Square Garden, and we play in the quarterfinals against the 2 seed from Group B, which ended up being Malaysia. It was a long night, but it was good to get to go 2-2. We felt pretty good. Felt a lot better than we did 2016, and we're excited for the next day. That started like 7 hours later.
Yeah, you said it was a long day and night. How like, what time did it start? What time did you guys finish the entire division?
The venue had a different event going on until about 3:30 in the afternoon, so we got started about 4 p.m. And then we finished about 1:30 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we also got backed up, not only from that event, but when that event was over, we were still setting up Basketball City, so that delayed us. I think from the start we were delayed about an hour, and then I think it got delayed by another like half hour maybe. So some teams weren't even done till like you said, 1:30 in the morning, I think.
Yeah, so
it was definitely a long day, but I think adrenaline kind of took over. One of our teammates, Brett Granfers, that plays for Empire, he broke his finger pretty badly, so he didn't get back from ER till about 4 in the morning, and I was rooming with him, so I was up for a while. Well, I think we all were we didn't need a second wind or anything. We kind of continued on for Madison Square Garden, and when I saw everybody come in about 9, 10 in the morning at Madison Square Garden, they looked refreshed and ready to go.
Well, I mean, playing marathon dodgeball is you're no stranger to that.
No.
You've proven your endurance like a couple times, right?
That's right.
For sure. That reminds me, who's that guy that had like a bloody face? What's that about?
I question.
That's my other teammate. 2 of my teammates had to go to the ER. Yeah, we were playing on a concrete floor at Madison Square Garden, and he just kind of went down for a dodge. He dodged it, but he hit his face off the ground. He kind of got up, and he was like, "Is that blood? Is it red?" Like, yeah.
He didn't even know he got cut.
He's like, "Is it bad?" I'm like, "It looks bad." Like, it looks tough. And he kept apologizing to the referees because he got blood on the floor. That's just the kind of guy he is. He's just super nice. He ended up getting 14 stitches above his eye.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, my injury is showing. I'm sorry about that. Just excuse
right,
my blood
yeah.
everywhere.
Can I have a towel to clean up the blood? Like, he literally asked for a towel to clean up his own blood. Dude, let's just rub up the gash in your face right now, and we'll clean the course off.
Meanwhile, England has their own surgeon that they're like, "Hey, we can let you guys use this guy if you want. He can take a look at you."
Hey, we have Alfred, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We had Dr. Kwan.
Dr. Kwan, nice. Can't go wrong with a doctor in your ranks. That's crazy. And he's okay, obviously. I think he was just more upset that he had to sit out, or was he able to play the next day?
Yeah, no, it was the second day, and he went to Madison Square Garden's medic room, and then they brought him over to the emergency room across the street and got 14 stitches. So he missed the rest of the day.
Ah, bummer.
But both my friends from my area have some pretty cool blood stains on the USA jerseys.
That's kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
Kind of.
Well, let's go into women's real quick. So how did women's place overall, Kim?
So on paper, it did not look great. I think we finished overall in 9th. However, if you watch our matches, like even against Austria and England and these powerhouse teams we played the first day, we weren't getting blown out 6-0, 6 players to none of our players. Like, we were losing because of time, and they'd have 1 or 2 more players than us. Like, it was coming down to 2 versus 1s at the end. So we were hanging in there with them. They were just either closing them a little bit quicker or, the time was running out, that they just had one or two more players each time.
And so if the game ends and there's players standing, is that points, or how does that impact you guys?
So if the time ends and they have more players than us, they win that game.
They win.
If it is the same amount of players on both sides, it is a draw, and each team would get a point.
Gotcha.
So like I was saying, on paper, the women's finish doesn't look great, but overall, we're all extremely talented players, and the only thing we were really lacking was the team chemistry and, knowing what each other's going to do on the court. We didn't get practice time except for like 20 minutes the night before. Half of the team I never even saw before or met or talked to except in our group chat. So I think that was our one downfall, is just we didn't have enough time to practice together as a team and, build that chemistry on the court.
Gotcha. Did that, were you able to kind of correct or work on that for day 2, or was day 2 just because it was one and done?
Because it was one and done, it was really difficult. And we wanted to make sure that everyone on the women's squad got to play at Madison Square Garden. So there was a lot of substitutions and stuff.
Gotcha. So overall, it wasn't like, maybe not the showing you guys would have hoped for, but you guys weren't getting steamrolled.
No, not by any means. Like I said, it was like they beat us by 1 or 2 players when time runs out, or they beat us 2-1 at the end, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Tasha, how about you? Let's talk about mixed a little bit. How did you guys finish overall?
So because I was I was on the women's team and the mixed team, I didn't have too many opportunities to play with the mixed because they wanted me to kind of just stay on the women's team. But the 2 games that I did play with the mixed team, like Brandon Cook was on fire, Jordan was amazing. Those 2 guys were definitely the backbone of that mixed team. It was definitely a lot of fun playing with them. I kind of wish that I had more opportunities to continue playing with the mixed team, because there was definitely a lot of talent. They went into day 2 as the 3rd seed. In order to advance, we had to beat Australia. And they were ready. They got their rest. They came in strong. So it was unfortunate that we couldn't advance, because they definitely put in a lot of work, and they played amazing.
And you said some of the players that stood out was Brandon Cook and Jordan. Do you know his last name by chance?
Perkowski.
Yeah. Oh, and Kevin Pack. I can't forget Kevin. Kevin was so good.
I was going to ask if Captain Falcon was playing. How did he look? I haven't seen that guy play in a long time.
He looked great. He was making plays. He was definitely just the clutch player. He was the last one in, and he was just taking everybody out by himself. Yeah, amazing guys. They did really well. I'm proud of all of them.
Sounds like Kevin. And you said that they got 3rd. Are they seeded 3rd? Am I saying that correctly? Is that how?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep. We're seeded 3rd going into day 2.
Gotcha. Very cool. So were you guys were these, I don't want to say, were these divisions run concurrently, or was it like, because you already went, like, men's went to 1:30 in the morning, so how did that work for the rest of the divisions?
Well, with the women's, our last game was against Canada, and we were definitely playing until 1 a.m. Kim, was that correct? I think I looked at, yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think I looked down at my watch, and it definitely said like 12:57, and we were still playing.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I think 3 out of 4 of our total US games, all 3 divisions, were playing at the same time.
So the might be a dumb question. I probably should have asked earlier. So the mixed team did not, the men from the mix did not play in the men's open team. It was 2 separate teams.
Rob, chime in. I wasn't quite sure who was on what.
We had a few people that were on both rosters. Excuse me. I know that a lot of countries treat all divisions pretty seriously. They want to do well in all divisions. So we didn't really know who's going to fit better where. Like Cook played on both teams. He was very successful and helpful to both teams.
Right.
Josh Ty, I thought he fit better on the mixed team. He had a little more time there. But, like Kevin Pack played strictly on mixed. Lou and I played strictly on men's. So there's a few people that were on both rosters. And the mixed, the women's and the men's all played at Basketball City day one, kind of at the same time. They had 9 courts going. So they just kind of ran through their schedule.
Gotcha. So it was optional. Like you weren't confined to just one division. You could have played in both if applicable.
Right. But I think, and I hope people from U.S. Dodgeball think that you need to have 3 separate teams. Because we were playing, like Lou said, we all played Canada with our last game at the same exact time.
Yeah.
And the mixed coach coming over to a men's team like, oh, I need Kush or I need Cook. And I'm like, no, you don't.
I need him.
Here.
Yeah, I think that's something that could be improved is like each division needs to have their own set of players. And
you find your roles too. Like if Cook is killing it on men's and he comes over to mix and he sits the bench or whatever, he's going to lose all that fire. So I think having 3 separate teams will work better.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, especially if just because the dynamic's going to change and roll, and you don't want somebody that's on fire to go cold. I did have a question on what did you guys do anything post day one, or were you guys just too exhausted to even?
I went to Walgreens and I bought some coconut water and some turkey, and I went back to the room and I watched live PD, and I fell asleep before I got home. That's what I did.
How about you, Kim? What did you do after day one?
We went straight home, but home for us, I was staying with my good friend and teammate, Sam Girardi. Thank you again, Sam, for hosting me and Jeremy for the weekend. But she lives in New Jersey, and we took like a $76 Uber ride straight back, and I think we got back around 3 or 3:30.
What was
and then passed out immediately.
Was there a conversation with the Uber driver, like where you guys were coming from, or?
You know what? I don't even remember. I was so tired at that point. I think we did. I think we definitely did. Yeah. And then Jeremy had put in the wrong address. Like apparently there were 2 exact street names and numbers, but in 2 different towns in New Jersey.
Oh, that happens.
So we ended up in a very not safe part of New Jersey for a few minutes until we got rerouted.
That's fun. That's definitely how you want to end an intense day of dodgeball, just being in the wrong neighborhood, just trying to get to bed. How about you, Lou? What'd you do after day one?
Took a Uber with Tasha, Kate. Who else was in the Uber?
Darcy.
And that was it, right? Yeah,
yeah, we all pulled a Rob. We ended up getting a New York pizza.
Getting pizza.
And then we all passed out.
Awesome. Well, very cool. I kind of wanted to go to day 2, but it sounds like it was pretty much, I don't want to say one and done, but that's literally what it was. So was there anything drastically different going into day 2 from day 1 other than changing the venue? We can start with you, Rob, on that one. Like, what was just like the major takeaway overall for you for day 2?
The major difference and the major takeaway was the stage it was on and how organized it felt. We spoke about how I wish it wasn't at Madison Square Garden and blah, 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 and I regret saying that. But everything was thought out pretty well. The cameras looked great. Like, people at MSG were expecting us. They knew one guy was like, hey, you're Rob Immel. Anything you need, you let me know. I'm like,
oh, what?
Nice to meet you, Larry. Like, this is great. I'm fine. They had prayer rooms set up. They had a warm-up area. They had coaches' rooms. They had athlete seating. We had credentials. Like, it was an awesome stage. The lighting was cool. The courts looked great. So other than, the format's the same, the rules are the same, but everything was just stepped up, super professional, and made it that much more fun. And even though, unfortunately we're all one and done, like, the game that we all played held a lot more than just playing for a place and playing for one and done. Like, it was a battle, and and it was just everything was elevated for that day too.
So it was a battle, but it was also, I mean, it sounds like you had the treatment that every dodgeball player craves and yearns for, of being taken seriously, of having that random person who knows you, asking if you need anything, to getting credentials, to getting seating. Like you had to live that, right?
Like, I didn't think New York really cared. I didn't think that they were going to care, honestly. But they did. Like, you talk about, Uber drivers wondering, like, people working next door were asking about the dodgeball thing. They'd see our shirts. I'm walking to the M&M store in Times Square with my family, and you hear people like, oh, there's a dodgeball guy, or like they know about it, they knew about it. So that was super cool, and I kind of almost had that overseas type feel. I know how serious it is over in Europe, and I kind of got that feel. So maybe that finally America is catching up and jumping onto it.
That's really cool, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask, like, because we talked about in the interview with you, like how the Germans were like housing you and they treating you guys like athletes, and for a second you thought it was going to go like full hostile for a little bit because they were being too nice, but it's good to see that that's finally making its way to the States. Like I said, every dodgeball player like craves for that and wants that to happen, so it's cool that it's finally doing so.
Yeah, and the media there was they steered clear pretty much from the movie, from that stupid subtitle that we always see at the start of every interview, and it was like super respectful, and they treated it as such. It was nice to be treated as an athlete.
That's awesome. That's a huge takeaway right there. How about you, Kim? What was the major difference for you going from day one to day two, and just living through that entire experience?
So as far as like the dodgeball content of it, I felt like day one felt like any normal tournament. I mean, aside from the fact that, there's a bunch of different nations there and it's like, very seriously taken. That was all cool. But day two, I agree with Rob. It just felt like the professionalism was stepped up tenfold. And I felt like for the first time, like a professional athlete might feel. It was just very surreal in general.
That's incredible.
And like there was some youth kids there doing like a little youth exhibition match, and one of them like came up and asked if they could give me a hug and like sign a little piece of paper they had for an autograph, and I was like, this is adorable.
That's gotta feel cool.
Yeah, very much so.
Youths, they're good for something sometimes. How about you, Lou? What was it like for you? I mean, day one, day two, all the stops are pulled, looks like. All the bells and whistles are out. You get the royal treatment.
They pretty much said it all, like the stage, the lights, having to have credentials, and then like seeing the stand, like seeing the seating area for everyone, and like actually having like fans there was like, I remember at one point, I think our match in Malaysia was done, and like we hugged it out. We took a group photo, and like it's gonna sound really corny, but like during the group photo, like I wanted to cry, and not for like because we lost or anything. No, it was like just because the experience of playing there under the lights in front of everyone was just like really overwhelming. Like it was an incredible experience that day too.
Was it not to put words or thoughts into your mind for this experience, but was it like, did you feel validated? Was that feeling you felt, or like overwhelmed, overjoyed, or just a combination of everything?
Like, it was a combination of everything. Like I never would have thought I'd play or like be under that situation, be like a part of it, and it happened, and it took over me. Like my feelings, like I was like crying on the inside and trying not to cry on the outside. It was fun. It was great.
Somebody let the onion cutting ninjas come into the venue.
Exactly.
That's awesome. How about you, Tasha? What were your thoughts transitioning from day one to day two and experiencing just that awesome treatment?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty awesome to hear everybody else's experiences. So I was with Kate and Darcy. We went out to go and just grab a sandwich for lunch, and we'd done the NY1 local news a little bit in the morning, and And there was this gentleman that was on his phone. He literally put down his phone and ran up to us three and was like, I just saw you on the news. I need to get a photo with you right now. I need to send this to my family. And they're like, you're part of Team USA? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, he's like, I hope, that you guys just kill it. We're all rooting for you. It was the coolest thing I've ever experienced in a little sandwich shop in New York City. Who would have thought?
That's crazy.
So that was it was really crazy. So it's cool to, like Kim said, to be treated kind of like you're an athlete, or, I mean, we are athletes, but I hope you know what I mean by saying that.
Like a celebrity.
I was
like a celebrity.
Yeah, like a celebrity, but then also, like, I know you're an athlete. Kim knows you're one. Rob knows you're one. All dodgeball players know that, but people that don't know us, like, that's something totally different.
Right.
Especially after however many years it's been of movie stigma. But very cool. Yeah, talking about, being acknowledged by non-dodgeball players, again, I've been kind of saving this for later, was the CBS interview that you had, Rob. Like, that was freaking incredible. And no joke, man, like, for me, playing dodgeball for 18,000 years, it was so cool to see a serious clip of dodgeball being portrayed by a professional network without any antics, any stupid copy of, like, oh, we're reliving our 10-year-old glory days. It was great. And one of the coolest things I took away from that was when they mentioned the movie, like, they made a movie about dodgeball. And, like, I know you're joking, but that was, like, the coolest response. And I'm going to start using that from now on if I ever get, just like the movie. Because ironically enough, I was talking to some of the sergeants, some of the senior leadership, because I was at drill while this was happening, and they're like, I forget how dodgeball got brought up, but we started talking about it, and then just sure as crap, they're like, oh, just like the movie, oh, I can't believe this happens. Like, yeah, actually the international, like, the world championships is happening right now as we speak, and they were just blown away that this was actually happening. And then if I wanted to, I can take this clip from CBS, and be like, here, check this out, or I could take the Vice clip, or I can take these articles that are coming out from, quality news companies. But aside from all the really cool stuff that's coming out, like, what's it been like this past week, Rob? Just kind of recovering from everything, or?
Yeah, I think the soreness has gone away. My voice is kind of back. It's kind of funny for me, I think a big part of me thought that my last game we played at the Garden, and we lost to Malaysia in a match. It was great. We had them and we lost, and kind of like what Lewis said, like, it was tough. Like, it was pretty emotional. Kind of like threw my hands on my head and was like, wow. Like, the crowd was great. My whole family was there cheering and stuff, and I was like, all right, well, this is a good way to go out. And then kind of looking back a week later, it's like I did okay. Like, it's only 2 years, so I'm back in the gym. Like, I was literally last week I was in the gym focused on 2018, and then on Tuesday I was back in the gym focused on 2020. So you never know what's going to happen, but seeing these interviews come up and hearing everybody say that was so cool, I watched it stream, or oh, I was rooting for you guys to be on ESPN, and I'm going to watch it anyways because I'm rooting for Malaysia because they beat you. It's just great, and like you said, that CBS interview was pretty cool. I get this random phone call on Friday night, or Thursday rather, from a 917 number. I answer it, and the guy knew all my information. He's like, "You want to follow around for 5 hours on Saturday? We're gonna have you mic'd up. Like, can you do that?" And I said, I was a little hesitant because I really didn't care about anything but playing well and representing. So I said, "Send me some of the stuff that you do or you have done, or what you might think it might look like." And he did, and I said, "Yeah, let's go. I'll see you Saturday." And he was so cool and so professional about everything, and super gracious. And he messaged me when it came out yesterday. It was like, "Dude, I could have put together a 10-minute feature on everything. It was incredible, but I had to keep it to what they're allowing us." So just to hear that, it was just pretty awesome. It came out pretty good. So just kind of riding the wave from that and looking forward to the future.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I was going to say, I really hope that these sound bites and clips circulate and give people a much better idea of what's actually out there, and just gets away from the recreational aspect, the silliness, the movie. Just helps us shake that stigma and show that there's just dodgeball needs to be taken seriously. But How about you, Kim? What's it been like for you, a week after the fact?
Honestly, I felt like I was just getting right back to reality. I started a new job the Monday afterwards, so it's been kind of interesting meeting new coworkers and just, they asked me immediately, so what'd you do over the weekend? Like, what do you like to do for fun? And then I, got to explain the entire dodgeball life that I live outside of work and explain what the DWC was. And so it's really just been kind of fun educating people that I'm just meeting now about it.
Nice.
It's kind of been my week.
And you've got good resources to do so now. Like, hey, check this Vice article out, or check this.
I've pointed a couple of people to different articles and videos and live streams, and they're loving it.
Very cool. How about you, Lou? What's it been like for you coming down from, being sore, getting your voice back, not being hungover? How's your week been?
I wasn't even really sore. This is good to have my voice back finally, and I'm finally like recovered. But it's been great. Like Monday was back to reality, like back to work, back to dodgeball. I remember going to open gym in Sandlot, and everyone was asking me like, "Oh, how'd you do?" They're asking about the event. Which, by the way, I have to give a shout out to Sandlot Sports, because they basically ran the entire event. Like Ari, he purchasing equipment, setting up schedules, and then a slew of Sandlot players stepping up, volunteering to referee and everything. Like, they really ran the show. They even set up where one of the after parties is at. So huge shout out to Sandlot. Like, they deserve a lot of credit for those 2 days and for everything leading up to it. But it's just been explaining to everyone how we did, what was it like, and then having people tell me what happened Saturday night. That's been my week, because I don't remember much of Saturday night.
Oh boy, you had fun.
Yeah, apparently there was limbo at the bar. I don't know.
It could be worse.
Could be.
Very cool. How about you, Tasha? What's it been like 1 week after the fact? Seeing all these awesome news featurettes coming out and just kind of getting back to normal. How's it been?
It's just been, I guess, different. It's weird transitioning from going through that experience and living that type of weekend, and then going back to your day job. It's hard. It's been difficult for me to make that transition. I went back to work on Thursday, and even when I was at work, it was hard to have those conversations with my coworkers, because I was still kind of living just like I was still in New York, and I don't know, it's been difficult.
Yeah, just trying to transition back into reality where, it's just I don't want to say the mundane, but you go from something completely different to what's normal again, kind of feeling. Right.
It's definitely a double life I think we're all living.
That's for sure. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, right before we jump into the crowdsourced questions, because I did get a couple, I just want to ask, and we can stay with you, Tasha, on this one, is just what are your final thoughts overall, and what's next? Are you going to try to go for the 2020 World Cup, or where do you think you're...
I would like to see more people just try out cloth. I do read what's happening in our Dodgeball's family group, and I do see them. There's not too many people that want to give it a shot, but I think that it'd be cool to see just more regions kind of host just a cloth ball tournament just to try it out. It's more inviting, I think, than people think. And yeah, I definitely want to give 2020 a shot. I think that I learned a lot from this experience. I want to take on some of the strategies that I learned from the countries that have been successful, and see if that could work for us. We have 2 years to do it, so I think that it's a possibility that we could be the top 4 teams.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what how the Austrians played, and I'm looking forward to talking with you on that in person.
Yeah, I'm excited to show you that. It's an interesting strategy, but it's very successful.
That's really cool. How about you, Kim? What what are your final thoughts overall, and what's next for you?
So I agree with Tasha 100%. I really would like to see more regions in the U.S. do some cloth ball tournaments. After the tournament was over, I had probably 3 or 4 people in this area of Baltimore reach out to me asking if I could start bringing cloth balls to open gyms that I host. And I was like, absolutely.
Wow.
So there's definitely some interest in at least my area of people wanting to try it. So I'm hoping to implement that soon. But yeah, it was a really cool experience, and I'm already starting to think of ways I can better myself for 2020.
That's awesome to hear. I'm glad to hear that you guys are thinking 2020 now. That's really cool. And I'll have to try cloth again. Just be open to it, not be so standoffish. It's just.
Thank you. That's all we want, Steve. Just be open.
Please, Steve, please.
I just feel like I hopped into an intervention all of a sudden. All right. Well, how about you, Lou? Like, what are your final thoughts overall, and what lies next for you?
I can't wait for 2020 now.
Nice.
It's great experience, great first taste of international dodgeball, and I can't wait for 2020. Going to be a lot of dodgeball coming up soon, like nationals. What else? I might go out to LA to watch World, like WDBF Worlds. I'm actually most likely going to England for a cloth tournament. They're hosting the British Open. Katie from Canada, she asked me if she wanted to make a team with me. I was like, I'm down. So if anyone's listening, you want to come join, let me know.
Of course, the Canadians would pick you up. Of course.
I mean, they have him. It's already done.
He's just gonna go play with his real team now.
It's just gonna be a process before I move out there. No, but so yeah, I'm excited for be playing more dodgeball. So yeah, can't wait. 2020 starts now.
Awesome. Very cool. And how about you, Rob? What are your final thoughts overall? I mean, you should probably have had several this past week already, but what are you thinking, and what's next?
Yeah, final thoughts were ended on a positive note. Even though no team did as well as we liked, it was very positive. A lot of good exposure, very exciting, super awesome to have my family and some friends there in the crowd. Definitely made some memories, and hopefully make some more in the future. I'm excited to see where it's going to be. I hope it's going to be in Tokyo because it pairs with the Olympics that year. So it'll be great exposure. Yeah, and it's just back to training. Keep playing, keep having fun, doing what I do.
Awesome. And that kind of bleeds into the couple of crowdsourced questions that I got. I just wanted to reiterate this one from Orlando, and that was there any plan on changing the location of the tournament? And we kind of talked about that during the pre-cap, that it's announced. I think it's announced every cup. Was that announced already, or?
No, we don't know where it is.
Still unknown, up in the air?
I'm hoping it's in Tokyo.
Yeah, that's the only rumor that's been going around, is it's going to be in Japan. So,
but we know it's not going to be in America. It's not going to be in England. So
that narrows it down just a little bit, but got it. This question can go to anybody that feels like they might have a good pulse on this one. This one comes from Joe Martinez, and that is, having played cloth, do you feel like it's more likely or less likely for other countries to adopt the Western ball types like no sting and 8.5? And do you know how the other teams there felt about foam and the WDBF Foam World Championship? So let's start with the first one. Do you feel like cloth is pretty much going to be the standard and there's like no deviation from that? I almost want to say yes, but what do you think?
I can take this first part. I think that other countries are just, cloth is it, and I think that the WDA has set the standard ball as a cloth ball. So they want to do well in these tournaments. I don't think they're going to deviate from that ball. They're not going to change their style or their ball type that dramatically.
Yeah, because of one country too.
Rubber heart, but I think cloth is the future.
Yeah, and you definitely touched up on this in the pre-cap, where it's like this is a huge world governing entity. They've made their decision on this cloth ball probably a long time ago. I doubt that they're going to come to the U.S., see that 50 teams average are playing rubber and think, oh yeah, let's switch to rubber. So I kind of want to feel like I knew the answer to that one already, just kind of talking to you guys about it and understanding everything.
I remember the Tuesday scrimmages they had. At one point, me and Katie were throwing rubber, and a bunch of people looked at the ball like, "What is that?" It was kind of funny. It was kind of funny to see that.
Like, what is this thing that these guys are playing with?
Exactly.
God, we probably look so like.
I don't think rubber's in the picture for them. But yeah, definitely cloth.
Yeah, considering they have managers and cameras and play callers, they probably think we can't afford cloth. They probably think we're just like so behind.
Man, but I would love to see more cloth in the States. I definitely want to see that.
We'll see. I mean, this last week really has been a lot of impact for dodgeball just on the media front. So I'm curious to see what kind of conversation we'll be having a year from now. Mm-hmm. The other question I got was from Michael Coive, and that was, I think maybe you might be best for this one, Rob, is that what would you change going into the next World Cup, and how would you go about achieving that change? And the reason why I wanted to direct this to you is because of your leadership role as a captain and hearing that you wanted to have more practices and whatnot. What would you change? And would you even be in a position to do so?
The second part, I don't know how I would go about achieving anything. I don't have any power. But the one thing I would change is I would definitely have the tournament in the same spot. If it's at the Garden, it's there both days. If it's at Basketball City, it's there both days. And I would, as far as the U.S. team, I would just allow more time to practice. I'd make it mandatory schedules that everyone's there on Wednesday, and we're practicing here on Wednesday, and then here on Wednesday night, and we're meeting here on Thursday. So we're not going in as blind as we have. I think that the tail end of our organization was pretty good as far as linking together emails and stuff like that. I just think that it could have been done sooner. I hope that the tryout process takes 2 years, and I wouldn't mind to go overseas next year, maybe to do some exhibition playing at the European Championships or something like that, just to get some international competition.
Gotcha.
You make the team, you have a big group, you go over, you play some cloth ball tournaments, and then that's the year in between the World Cups. So just a little more organization, a little more planning and execution. But unfortunately, I don't have that power. I just hope people keep playing the style and wanting to do better. And I think that the hunger that they felt from playing at Madison Square Garden in that quarterfinal was, for the men's at least, was enough to keep them going and go recruit and get more talent for 2020.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. I mean, you guys all said unanimously, I'm looking forward to 2020. So it's that could be the feel that we need. And real quick, what did you guys place last year, or 2 years ago?
We picked 7th in men's.
So going from 7th to 3rd, I mean that's a pretty good improvement considering these teams have been around for a long time. They're all very fierce competitors. So it sounds like we're making our way, right? Like it's getting better in time.
Yeah, it felt good to win on Friday. Just kind of get that monkey off the back a little bit because 2 years ago we're kind of lost out there, and we beat Egypt and we're close to a couple other matches, but this year is a different story, and next year is going to be an even different story. We're definitely on the map, and people, talking to England guys, they were impressed. I won't say they're nervous yet, but Austria came from nowhere, so did we. So 2020 is going to be different.
Nice, 3rd time's the charm. How about you, Kim? Is there anything that you would do differently if you had the power, or just in general that you can think of?
I agree with a lot of what Rob said, just starting the whole tryout process earlier, and looking at teams like England who had a whole team of people just for their team to do like the managerial work, I think that would be really good too. While like Brett did an awesome job organizing everything, I think if he could have had some, backup people helping him out and, taking a little bit of the load off them, just would have made his life so much easier.
I like that. A team for the actual team. Like, that sounds like that's probably what needs to be done so the players can just play and perform.
Yeah, pretty much. And I liked Rob's idea of, going overseas in the off year and doing like a tournament together just to get that experience. I think it's a great idea.
Definitely. Now, it sounds like Lou's already on his way. So speaking of that, what would you change, Lou? Or what would you do differently for 2020 if you had the chance?
They basically set it for me. Starting the process earlier, getting more playing time together. I think that would be really key, and we'll definitely jump exponentially if we can get that happening sooner. What I would like to see differently World Cup wise, I hope somehow, some way we could get like a full round robin. I think that would be fun. That would be interesting. Although that would probably need maybe 3 days, probably a total of 3 days, but I think that would be fun.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it would take at least another day to get, especially because you guys play like 30-minute rounds, right? It's 30-minute rounds.
Yeah, 15-minute halves, 30 minutes all together.
That's a lot of dodgeball, and you definitely need a lot of time to make that happen. But
yeah, but that's something I would love to see, though. I would love to play every country in round robin.
For sure. And last but definitely not least, Tasha, how about you? What would you change going into 2020 if you had the chance, or personally or organizationally, or what would you like to see different?
I don't really have too much to add. I loved pretty much everything that Rob was saying. Definitely, if it's gonna be 2 days, keep the same venue, and just more playing time. I think that if we had an opportunity to play together and kind of just build that team chemistry before we all kind of walked out on the court, I think that would have been beneficial for all of us. So that's pretty much my take.
Gotcha. That and like as we talked about before already, is just getting people to adopt cloth a little bit more, getting people more familiar with it, getting people to look at some other play styles, and just know that dodgeball goes beyond the U.S. So I'm really excited for 2020 and just to see like the developments and the progress that happen. Again, just using the men's team, going from 7th to 3rd now. It looks like you guys are on the right track collectively. So very exciting stuff. But between this and the interviews that Anne Nguyen covered, I think that should be pretty sufficient coverage of the event. Unless there's any final thoughts or input you guys wanted to throw out there real quick.
Maybe we'll get you there sometime.
What's that?
Maybe we'll get you there. That'll be an improvement.
Oh, you flatter me. I'll be like a towel boy or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for spending almost like 2 hours. Let's edit this and see how long it really is. But thank you guys so much for spending time with me tonight and talking about dodgeball and reliving what went down a week ago. I just thank you so much. Alrighty, so now we're going to go ahead and get into the boots on the ground interviews that Anne Nguyen put together. I do want to give a quick warning that the audio might not sound as great or might be really loud. It just depends on your audio system because this was filmed live and in a dodgeball tournament. So for those of you that have been involved in one, you know how loud they can be. So just a quick heads up and enjoy.
So now we're interviewing Michael Coive and Alan Thomas from the U.S. men's team. So I'll start off with some questions. How are you guys feeling? What teams have you played? Why don't you introduce yourselves and where you're from?
All right, go ahead, Mike. I'm Michael Coive. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I play on Rainbows and Elite.
I'm Alan Thomas, also from Portland, Oregon, and I'm also on Rainbows. But today we're playing together again on the men's U.S. team. So far, what was our first game?
Our first game was against Northern Ireland.
Yeah, we didn't have a great first game. We didn't quite figure out how to play together yet. We didn't know what lineups gelled necessarily, and we had to figure out kind of the style. So I think we lost by like 10. It was like 16-6.
I think it was 18-6.
18-6. So every game, the set is 2 points. A tied in 3 minutes, a tie is 1 point. So we won 3 and lost 8 or 9 or something like that.
Basically 9 games to 3.
Yeah. Our second matchup was against Australia, who we're about to watch play again now against Canada. And we got off to a good start. The first couple games had some, what would you say, like some controversy?
I would say questionable calls.
Some calls we didn't know the rules on or things like that that went against us. And then we picked it up. So on one side there's a wall, maybe 10 feet behind, and on the other side there's a net. So there's a big difference shagging the bounce backs on one side. So we found that it was really advantageous to slow down when the wall's behind us.
So yeah, basically the goal in the first half of the match was to just basically hang close. So stay close with them in points, and until we got to the side where we had the net behind us. So once we had the net behind us, we got all the ricochets, and so we were able to play a lot better and use that to our advantage. Aggressively,
more our style, really take advantage of countering and holding control of the court, which was pretty good.
So first question, what's it like adapting to this style of play?
It's different. I love it. I love fast dodgeball, and I love control court dodgeball. Like controlling the game is my things, and it's big here. It's this big here, or bigger than elite.
I would say that one of the biggest things is ball control here. Like if you give up those balls, you're dead. And it was really key in that second match, basically getting those. Changing that style and changing how we were playing. We were going way too quick and giving up ball control way too easily.
Yeah, I think we came in thinking that the call that you, so essentially you only have to give up majority if you do it quickly, but if you wait too long, then you have to go down to 1 ball. And I think with the first game we were sort of playing that came immediately. And we were just like, okay, gotta throw now, gotta throw, or we'll get called to throw more. And then I think we kind of realized after that game and watching the game in between that they're actually not calling it that quick.
No.
We were able to play really at about the same pace that we play elite.
Yeah, elite. I mean, it's 10 seconds, and so we were getting 5-6 seconds before they would play ball. So we have plenty of time to get together, make a call, and execute that before the play ball call.
Another question: how do you feel about the ball itself versus 8.5?
I mean, nothing will ever be 8.5.
Yeah, no.
But I like them. They're fun. It's better than no sting.
It's a little bit, I would say one of the big things is it's kind of comparable in that the inflation or the PSI of the ball is makes a big difference on how you can throw the ball and also how you can catch the ball. So just like no sting, it's that same way.
I would definitely agree that it makes an impact on how I'd catch it. I haven't found one that I've had trouble throwing yet, luckily.
I would say the ones that are like really pumped up, I'm having trouble calming. I have smaller hands, so it's
small, weak hands.
Yeah.
So what are the big rule differences between this tournament or this style of play and elite? That was a question from earlier.
Well, the biggest one would be the ball count.
Yeah, the ball count it's not that big of a difference.
It's
but
5 balls.
It's 5 balls, so majority is basically 3 balls.
Right.
What's another big difference?
So yeah, once you control the majority, 3 balls or more, you have to get under majority in what's supposed to be 5 seconds, where they'll call play ball and how many you need to throw to get down to 1. Yeah. And if you don't do it, if that play ball another 5 seconds goes by, anyone still holding a ball, if you haven't relinquished the right amount, is out. So be quick. The lines are out of bounds.
Yeah, lines are hard lines. Can't touch them. Another big thing would be just no dumping. So if you don't throw within a meter of someone, then you are out.
Everything's in the metric system.
Right. It's basically the WDA was set up in what?
They throw in kilometers per hour instead of miles per hour.
What's another big thing?
So how do you feel about the reffing? Like, I know earlier there was a play where Koiv had 2 balls, he dropped one and threw another, and he got called out for that for some reason.
Yeah, so together and talk the same way like elite refs. Oh, nice. They'll block back and hit back. So like if you throw a ball and they block it back, it's live, and if you throw it and hit them and it comes back, it can be caught. So
it's kind of like that used to be rule in Elite.
Yeah, the
like
phantom catch.
The phantom catch.
Yeah.
Except for you are out.
So that call was weird. Cruyff dumped the ball and they're saying it knocked the ball out of his hand, but no ref, like the ref on the wrong side of the call made the call, and they never discussed it with the other ref. So there's not a lot of coming together the same way that elite refs do, which is tough for us.
Yeah. I would say another big thing is like there's only 2 refs. So I've actually talked to Egypt. I talked to another. I think Canada also mentioned that the refs, they just are not up to par. So
normally there's line refs on each side.
Yeah.
At least hopefully for big games. I'm assuming we'll have that for the bracket matches.
I mean, I watched a Malaysia versus I forget who, Slovakia or something like that, Slovenia, and I saw multiple occasions where a girl stepped like a foot and a half over the line and no one called her out. So I just, it's tough. So you're having to battle a team and the refs. So.
Last question before we end this interview. What nations are you personally keeping your eye on?
Well, the nations in our pool are really important because we've got to beat them out to get to the bracket. So right now, actually, it's a huge game between Canada and Australia. Neither team has a win yet. We win next and then Canada. So if one of these teams go winless, we are automatically on for having just one win. So this is kind of a big one right now.
Yeah. What do you mean by you're automatically on? How does that bracket work tomorrow?
So there's 2 pools of 5.
Right, and only the top 4 teams
from each pool.
From each pool get to move on to the bracket. So it's an 8-team bracket.
Right. So they see 4 of each pool will play the opposite in the other pool. So 1 in Pool A will play 4 in Pool B. So you're guaranteed your first round match against the team you haven't played, which is cool.
Cool. Well, we're gonna end this interview so we can scout out Canada as we have a Canadian friend right here. All good things on our friends up above the border. But have a great night. We'll be playing U.S. men's team. We're gonna be playing against England first. Against England in about an hour, and then Canada after that. So have a good night.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So this next clip is going to feature Kate Bergsgaard and Joshua Tai from the U.S. co-ed team, or mixed rather.
Alright, okay, hey. So we are here with Josh Tai and Kate Bergsgaard. Well, why don't you introduce yourself and explain what teams you play on here, where you're from, what teams you play on if you play Elite.
Sure, you go.
Okay, girls first. Kate Bergsgaard, Portland, Oregon. I play in Rainbows co-ed and Witness ladies. In Elite.
And then what you doing here?
Here in New York City.
Okay. My name is Joshua Tai. I play on Arkham and in all things that are Arkham on the East Coast, and I'm currently on the men's and I guess also on the mixed team.
So you guys just got your first win for mixed, right? It was against Slovenia. Second win or first win? I don't know. You guys know better than me.
I don't even know.
We'll say second.
We'll round up.
So, okay. So who did you just play? How was the team? What did you do well?
It was Slovenia.
Slovenia. We kicked their butts. We did well.
This little Slovenia girl just walked by when you said that, and she went.
Lo siento, Slovenia. We did well. We targeted. And we held control, and we didn't feed into their pace. We set the pace instead of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize when they're watching this game, and their assumption of this game is that I'm an amazing I'm not saying for myself, I'm saying in general. Like, I'm an amazing dodgeballer. I can play this game too, and it's a very different game from anything that we play.
Yes.
It is very different from Elite.
Yep.
It is very different from UDC. It's very different from even your local pickup games. Like, what they have going on here in the cloth market is foreign. It is a foreign language. So
yes.
How do you feel about cloth versus 8.5?
I just like cloth a lot.
I mean,
you can't grip it, you can't throw it, and you can barely catch it.
You've got small hands.
Respect for people who can play cloth. There are some amazing dodgeballers out here who are like throwing so hard, and there's, you know what I mean, they're able to get their hand on the ball. There's no squeeze, there's no pinch, there's no give to the ball. So like it's all like grip strength. It's all in this, and they're getting some killer throws on there. So I personally love 8.5, and then a nose thing, and then maybe foam, and then cloth. But like, you know, shout out to people who can do it.
Yeah, I mean, this game changes a lot of elements. Like, you definitely changing the ball and changing the pace changes your style of play. I noticed that when I'm playing cloth, I'm becoming more of a dodger than a thrower or a catcher. So it's all about dodging and milliseconds and centimeters.
Because when you see her play in Elite, she's catching everything. She's throwing people out. I see you. She's so humble, but I see her. You all see her. You all see Kate.
So you're both. So Josh is on the men's and the mixed, and then Kate's on the women's and the mixed. So which division are you looking more forward to, mixed or the gender in the division?
I personally am looking forward to women's. We have a big learning curve to come over. I think the fact that we're all foreign to each other does not help us. So we're figuring out roles, we're figuring out strengths and weaknesses on the court together as a team, and then versus our opponents. So I am looking forward to women's.
So the first couple games that I played today were men's, and this is my first women's game that I've played. I mean, women's. Shut up. That was my first mixed game that I played, and I actually really love the experience of playing with the mix. I think that so there's a men's team. We also didn't have the opportunity to get to practice and play together, and so it's a lot of people coming together. It's a lot of different styles coming together. There's a lot of ego and attitude, and while sometimes that can be really fun, it can also be like a detriment to the team. So what was really nice about this is like everyone was chill. It was like positive vibes. And not to say that wasn't the case for men's, but men's team, we're in like probably one of the tougher brackets. We played first Northern Ireland, then we played Australia and we won that game, and now we're playing against England, and England has been seated at the top for a number of years. They're just like, this is their game. And so while that's going to be a very exciting game to play, it's also, I think it's going to be a big source of humble pie for our team. Straight up.
Canada just, I don't know if they can hear that camera, but Canada just beat Australia in the men's bracket, so I know you guys have a bracket ahead of you.
Yes.
I think right now you're rooting for Australia to lose, just so you guys can make it through.
And who knows? Who you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, real talk, like, this is, as much as, this is not our game. This is not the U.S. game. This is not Elite. This is not anything else. Like, this is completely new and foreign to us. And, like, you know, I encourage everyone to, you know, to try this out. But, like, it's rough.
Yeah, it's hard. You are a little fish in a huge pond here.
In an international pond. Oh, the men's. Oh, the men's.
What can the U.S. do to start competing on the international level?
Well,
what's the next step for U.S.?
So I think honestly the first thing is getting our hands on these balls and throwing it. Like, sure, we are beasts with 8.5. We're killer with no sting, and this is another market for us. So the more exposure we have to this ball first is step one. Step two is actually like, and it's hard because there's not much here for us, but like every time that I love seeing on Dodgeball Family when someone travels and they post and they say like, hey, I'm in Turkey, any dodgeball, like anytime you are traveling, if you can get a night of pickup, as corny as that sounds, while you're on vacation, like do it, because the exposure is amazing.
Ditto. I can't say anymore.
Or do you not want to? She's like, he needs to go. He is sweaty.
You're sweaty. Oh, I'm wet.
I am.
Not a good bet. Oh, yeah.
So what do you think the chances are of cloth ball being the Olympic dodgeball type? Or is it going to be foam? Is it going to be 8.5? I don't think it's going to be 8.5.
It's not 8.5. I mean,
it's not going to be no stimulus.
No, it'll be foam or cloth.
Yeah, realistically, it'll be foam or cloth.
That's what the majority of the world outside the U.S. plays, and we're outnumbered.
Yeah, we're outnumbered, and quite honestly, like, the way it is right now, like, there's the other countries have some serious talent.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of players in the U.S. play foam, and the foam team that they put together is killer, and I, shout out to them, and I hope that they kill it. It'll be interesting to see like what happens the next couple of years with this team and going forward, and with cloth.
Oh, Tyler Greer just hopped on the live stream.
Hey, Tyler, you better put me a shout out on the Dodgeball Tribune.
So again, Josh Ty, Kate Rosegard. Josh plays on the men's and the mixed. Josh plays on the men's and the mixed. Kate plays on the women's and the mixed. Any questions? I haven't seen any questions come by yet. Any last words about today so far? You both got 2 matches left for each division, right?
Yeah. Women's has 1 match left.
They just played England while we were playing Slovenia.
How did you guys do against England?
I was playing mixed, but I heard it was 6. Every game here is 2 points, so 16-2 would be 8-1. But I heard every game within the match was close, but the match itself was far.
Men's and mixed play at the same time?
Yeah, and honestly, what I've noticed when playing is like those games that are so close, it's one mistake that can really up the game.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like, one thing that the U.S. is pretty good about is about ball control, and when we start to implement ball control here, we perform a lot better. But, when people just want to throw willy-nilly and just like get their outs and wave their around, then like we lose. You know what I mean? Saying like one opportunity where we are left with 1 ball and they have 4.
Yeah.
It's like there's 2 people out, and it's not our game, so we need to play as smart as we can. So I think that like the next game for men's with England is going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
And positive attitude, positive outlook. I hope we do well. I don't necessarily think we'll win, but hope we turn it out.
Right. It's a good experience for girls.
Josh, my brother, Frenchie. In case anybody didn't know, Frenchie's brother. He lives in the
I didn't know that was your brother.
Yeah, we both have last name Nguyen, but
Well, so do I, but
Frenchie's the last name's Nguyen.
how can you win? Hyphenated girl. You know she mixed.
Half.
I have biracial hair.
Big eyes. Frenchie says Joshua looking all sexy. Personally, I think Kate looks sexy too. Last question I have. So what is your favorite aspect about cloth today? What's your favorite thing about cloth?
About cloth?
Such as cloth or like the tournament today? Or
I think that cloth makes me think of dodgeball in a whole other way.
Yeah.
We get so set in our elite and our 8.5 and our no sting and our count that it speeds up the game. This game is so fast. Even though it's 3-minute sets within each match, those 3 minutes fly by and rarely ever do you get timed out. Like rarely ever do you get timed out because everything's going so fast. So it definitely challenges me in ways that I'm not challenged, and it's a new ball type that I want to master. It's like learning a new language.
Alright, Josh, you can't say the same thing.
The man, honey, it is so good to see all these international boyfriends that I have here. Hi, boyfriends. There are so many. Oh my
They
god.
didn't see you.
There are a lot, but so that would be something that I guess the man, and then sidebar of the man. I think just in general, like seeing different players from different countries, like it is so refreshing to see. Like not necessarily a me, but see like an us, like to see other dodgeballers that are so hardcore. They flew out to this international tournament. Yo, Austria showed up rolling deep. They had speakers. They were playing music. They had a chant. They did a choreographed dance. I know that. And what the U.S. do? We like cowered in the corner. Was like USA. We ain't got. So I think that like seeing the global support for this sport is something that like we don't always see. Like dodgeball family is cute and it's insular. It's just us. We all know about dodgeball. We watch each other's games. We like follow each other, but we don't have necessarily support like Austria, who flew out like families and friends. Like when I say they rolled deep, it was like team Austria. Yeah. So like it was cute to see that.
I know Canada had their own they had two head coaches and then like their own doctor.
I know they got masseuses.
Yeah, England has masseuses and like PTs on their.
And then and then Canada has a nutritionist. Like one of them boys was like, I can't eat this because that's what my nutritionist said. I said, in my normal life I can't even get a nutritionist. That's why I got these breasts. So mad.
A-cups.
Kate Rosegard from they just finished beating Slovenia in the mixed division. Stay tuned. We're gonna have the men's versus England coming up. I am a little biased. I've only been filming the men's because I date one. So.
Well, you need to get on this women's game, honey, because you can date her too.
All right, say bye.
Alrighty, and now we have the final interview with Alan Thomas, Michael Koiv, and Kyle Sozik.
Alright, so tell us what just happened, boys. You guys just finished post round. It's post round in the evening for you guys?
Tasha, we did great. Came out strong. Didn't know what to expect. Being first World Cup and stuff. But who do we play first?
Ireland.
Ireland. I felt we could have played a lot better. Australia, we came out strong. Definitely picked ourselves up. And then we came out at England, and we came out strong. And then we kind of just started making stupid mistakes. And definitely think we'll learn from those, and we'll come up tomorrow and we'll take them out.
Would you say if we played Ireland second or third or fourth, you think that game would have been different?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say that one of the biggest changes is that we figured out our players. So our starting six was on, and we had a rotation of maybe two, 3 players. And I would say it takes a great player to step up and be the man. It takes an even bigger man to step up and say, hey, I'm just not the best player. And that's what we did.
I have to give a lot of credit to to Rob and Ed a bit, and who else? Alfred, Brett. Yeah.
Who actually broke his finger.
Who broke his finger? He split it open, like bone out. Who stepped aside and
England last game.
And let us, and Lewis as well, and let us play whenever we were ready to play. We sat when we were tired, and when we wanted on the court, we got on, and it Josh Ty as well. Yeah, absolutely. Credit to those guys. They were good teammates, and they gave us a chance to really take advantage.
Win. I mean, if they don't sit, I don't know if we win those games that we did.
Yeah. Well, they saw the strength of our line, and they committed to it.
Yeah. Hockey terminology.
Yep.
What was your favorite team to play during your round robin?
Well, Canada sort of played a style that we kind of already knew. So playing Canada just felt like playing elite.
Yeah, it was definitely elite style.
I liked playing Australia because that was kind of new.
It was a little challenging, but I mean, we came up, and that was fun. England was a lot of fun though too. I mean, that opening run, those games were awesome.
The first 3 games.
I would say England was probably my favorite team. We got beat, and they beat us pretty bad. I mean, I think the final score was like 18-8. I think is what it was.
Maybe. Maybe we got it.
We got it, but to play, they're a legit team. They're reigning champs. But those guys play all year round. They practice. The team has a practice.
For those who don't know, England's system, they have a system where they've got crew, and there's a guy in a suit with a walkie-talkie. It's intense. Yeah. We don't have that here yet.
There's a game going on behind us. It's Singapore versus Egypt. But what's something that you guys learned from playing with these different countries? Anything you guys learned? Any strategies you picked up?
It's a lot faster. Pump fake a lot. You really got to pressure from the corners. I mean, you do that anyways, but I mean, it really makes a big difference in this game.
I'd say the biggest adjustment for me was just the ball control situation being slightly different, when to take the chances and when not to, and also, honestly, this isn't really even part of it being international, but playing on a team with a coach. We normally play with one sub, maybe, and it's just everyone kind of knows. But here we have potentially 6 subs. And a coach who sort of gets to decide. So credit to AJ too, kind of gave us the reins a little bit and
he backed off a little bit.
Put a lot of trust in me. I feel like so. Credit to that as well. That was probably the most interesting experience. I never played organized sports growing up, so
I think one of the biggest things was a lot of the East Coast guys and the coach and Rob. They didn't know us coming in. They had no idea what we could do, and so I don't feel like they had a whole lot of trust in us. And I think just play on the court. We showed what we got on that court, and they stepped back and they said, "These are the guys."
And absolutely, and the coaches even said a couple times to us, they know us from Manchester. They know him. They know him. They don't know you. They don't know him. They don't know you. And that's really been a big advantage for our team. And absolutely, the other teammates that have played or haven't, but from the other parts of the country, we're all adapting so well. In the later games. So.
There was a big change from that first starting lineup.
Oh yeah.
I think you might have been in it. Or no,
I
was it
wasn't
you?
in it. No, none
of us were in it.
Yeah.
None of us were in the starting lineup for that first match. Every match after that, we were in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy for tomorrow? You guys gotta go to play at Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden. You're likely the third or fourth place for your pool, so you're definitely gonna be in the bracket. You're definitely third? Okay, you're definitely third. Great job. Congrats. What's your strategy moving into Madison Square Garden tomorrow?
Actually, honestly, if Ireland tied Australia, beat Canada, lost to England, and beat us, okay, then they're 2.5. All right.
They got one more point than us.
That's a stage none of us have probably ever played on. Anything like that. Already, this was crazy coming in and teams cheering.
Absolutely.
So,
dancing in and
Strategy. I think the strategy tomorrow is going to be something similar today because the teams that we're playing tomorrow, to start out, they don't know anything about us.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a similar strategy. Go in and just kind of be a surprise.
exactly.
Yeah.
What country are you guys looking out for?
England.
Yeah.
Well, you likely not to play England tomorrow, so
Well, no, we could play them in the final or in the second round maybe.
Yeah.
you guys worried about Malaysia, Egypt?
I wouldn't
I
say
don't know.
worried.
I don't think I'm specifically worried about any country. I am worried about the integrity of the game. We've seen kind of a lot of questionable outs not taken maybe.
Yeah, I
So-
would say it seems like the strategy in a lot of countries it's wait for the ref to call it, and that's just not what I'm used to. That's not how
I think
Elite's
we'll
built.
probably
That's
be a little better tomorrow,
Yeah.
but, you know, more refs. Hopefully,
once again,
you know, there was a lot of over the lines and
Yeah, I went over the
a
line a
lot
few
of
times.
hits that weren't called. I mean, clearly people on the sideline saw 2-3 hits at a time and they didn't go out. So
yeah, it's hard to. It really takes a lot. See everybody else not taking their outs and still you take your outs. It takes a lot of willpower to do that.
you have that mentality. That's the type of game that's being played. But no, you don't want to be looked at as that player. And you want to have respect. And, win honestly.
This poor Singapore team is getting demolished behind us. It's hard for me not to watch.
The Singapore.
Alright, so we're wrapping up. Final question, fun question. What's the favorite place you guys have eaten in New York City so far?
Ooh, Cat's Deli, all day.
Best bagel. Delicious. Best bagel.
It's actually called Best Bagel.
It's actually called Best Bagel. I took Kevin's family there. They're like, I don't know about this place. They've gone back
tacky name.
every day since. They're like, that place is amazing. It was recommended by Dominic. So
Yeah, I heard him
I
say
think I'm doing
that.
that tomorrow morning. It's right by the hotel.
Was it Eli? That's where we went yesterday? Eli in Chinatown.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
The General chicken there was amazing. The beef crunchy noodle was total trash. But the General shows was amazing.
Alright, wrapping up with Kyle, Alan, and Coy. We just finished up the round robin for men's. We'll catch you again tomorrow at Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden. Bye. Good luck.
So, audio quality aside, I know it was very loud in that venue, and obviously there's a lot going on. And I think in one of those interviews, it sounds like the team was doping up on helium. But thank you so much, Anne Nguyen, again for putting that together and just putting the initiative to try something new. And I would love to hear your feedback on whether or not we should incorporate this into future recaps. I did something like this with Sin City in the first season a couple years back, and I loved talking to people in the middle of the tournament. The only problem is that people get really shy. So if you're one of those people that don't get shy and would like to actually be captured in the moment and just be given a couple of rapid fire questions to help really put together how the whole event went down, I would love to work with you for nationals coming up. Anyway, that aside, thank you again, Anna, for letting me do that, letting me utilize the footage here, and we hope you enjoy. So that was the World Dodgeball Association Dodgeball World Cup that took place the weekend of August 3rd, and thank you so much to the panel for hopping on and discussing it with me. Unfortunately, I could not catch much of it at all due to the fact that I had drill, and what I was able to catch was after the fact. There were several clips and all kinds of crazy awesomeness that was going on, but definitely couldn't have done it without you guys, Rob, Immel, Kim Wilkie, Tasha Mabin, and Louis Velez. Thank you guys so much for hopping on again. It was late, but I do appreciate it and hope that we were able to provide just some good insight on what took place overall. Granted, it's just scratching the surface. But also, a huge thank you and shout out to Anne Nguyen for capturing the game interviews or the in-tournament interviews. I love that it was done. Thank you so much for letting me utilize the audio. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that just added another element to these recaps, as that is definitely something I would like to see implemented more and more as these amazing events and tournaments go by. I would love to get in-person, on-site, almost in-game quick interviews. So if you're interested in doing that, let me know, and I'll probably talk to you at some point, especially during nationals, because that's the next big event coming up. That all being said, that pretty much wraps up all that I could cover with the World Dodgeball Association, given my limited knowledge and scope of it. However, in the coming episode, the third part of the series, I guess you can say, I do want to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the World Dodgeball Association and kind of just address some of the controversy, for lack of better words, that seems to envelop it, in hopes that we can all kind of just understand what's going on, hear what we need to from both parties, and then just get in a unified backing of anything that promotes dodgeball in a positive manner. So just gonna leave it at that for now. Stay tuned for that episode, and as always, feel free to send your feedback, your questions, your comments, your concerns. I love it, so feel free to send it anytime. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. One and done. I'm just gonna send it. Another day, another beer. All right, I'm out of here.